these racist corporations, man. When will they learn? I don't know. They need to hire more black people or what? Or maybe it's black people doing it. I don't know who's doing it. But since we last talked, Dove soap got into some trouble, and woke up this morning. Kellogg's Corn Pops started some dumb nonsense, and they got to apologize. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It's like, do they really want our money?
Well, what happened?
Well, this morning, I'll show the picture.
That was yesterday's news.
Yesterday, yeah. Okay. Well, Twitter. This guy on Twitter jumped on it. Apparently, they had to pull all the boxes of Kellogg's Corn Pops off the shelves because on the back of it there was like a picture or a game, and they had all these Corn Pops like Corn Popville, and everybody's doing stuff, playing arcade games and doing this and going to work, and then they're all yellow.
Okay.
And then there's one Corn Pop that's brown. He's down in the lower part of the frame, and he's dressed as a janitor with headphones on and a floor waxer. And somebody on Twitter said, "Hey, that's racist, Kellogg's." And they're like, "Oops, my bad." And so it's like, well, somebody had to. You would really, Kellogg's, really? I mean, you saw the image. What is this about?
Playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
And we get this all the time when we talk. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Even
the trolls jump out.
Someone's gonna say, "Oh, you guys."
You're too sensitive. You should be happy
you keep
that you got a brown
Trump.
Corn
What about
Pop.
Obama? You're always talking about race. About this. So I said, well, some of these people are raising some good points now, Mike.
Okay. Devil's advocate now.
Okay. So they're saying you ain't got no white pops. They're all yellow.
Well, no, they were all saying that they're basically reading the yellow pops as being white people. Like most of the people are like, oh, those are white pops because the brown pop was the janitor, right? So they said, well, and then one of the comments was like, well, you should be happy, there's nothing wrong with being a janitor.
Right.
At least the brown pop was employed. Everybody else was not employed. It's like, okay, nah. But that's deflecting off the inherent racism of, okay, well, if they're all the same, I'd hate to open up the box.
Are we oversensitive?
Well,
that's the question. Is it legitimate?
I think you got to call it out. I think you got to call out all that ignorance because clearly. Well, finish your point, and then we'll jump to Dove soap because that's even more ignorant. I mean, it's almost like every month.
The Dove I didn't like.
Well, finish the Corn Pop soap. But
okay.
Every month it seems like these corporations are in a position where they've got to defend themselves against some insensitive, racist thing that probably should have been caught well before it was published.
Okay, I agree with some people saying. I think, to a large degree, this political correctness can get on your nerves. Okay, there are a lot of things you don't want me to say because I say I don't agree with a lot of people about a lot of things.
That goes to the Warren Hutchinson. Warren Hutchinson, the comedian. He said his father raised him Muslim. He said, "You got to look at this stuff. It's like, why are the green olives in the jar, but then when you got the black olives, they're in a can where they can't see the light." It's tricks to it, man.
Yeah.
It's tricks to it.
Yeah.
Why is the brown corn? First off, there are no brown. If you found a brown Corn Pop in your box, you'd send it back.
Or some of the things Dr.
So it
Frances
doesn't
Cresswell
exist. It doesn't exist.
That
so
she uses with the black
come
ball.
on, Kellogg, you're teaching racism to kids. The one Corn Pop that the brown kid can identify with is a freaking janitor with a floor waxer. Come on.
Like, is that the thing with chess? Who gets who moves first in chess and checkers?
Yeah.
And the pool table.
Gamesmanship.
But the thing is, I do feel it's important that these things are scrutinized. That we don't need the boxes to be put out there. And then I don't know. This guy must have a lot of time on him. Like, you accuse me of having too much time on my hand, because I didn't even see the guy. It had to be circled.
Circled it, yeah.
Yeah. I said, well, damn, if somebody's studying collect Kellogg's boxes, who would notice this stuff?
Well, it's all subliminal. Everything is.
you know, but then there's not one pop. They're yellow, all the same, but he is a little darker.
He's brown.
Yeah, he's brown. But we also went through that crap with the first black president was a black man. That's bogus, and a lot of people bought into that nonsense.
So it didn't bother you that much, that one?
Well, a whole lot of people
Corn
bought
Pops.
into it.
No, I'm talking about the corn pops. You giving Kellogg's a pass?
No, I'm not
You
giving
the
them a
corn
pass, but I'm just saying, yeah, we do need people to be in this day and age.
Well, I mean, it's just who's the gatekeepers? How does that even get out? You know, who's in the room when they approve this stuff? Who's paying attention at that level where they, you know, because social media, you say or do the wrong thing, you risk boycott. That stuff should be hyper scrutinized before it's even sent to the printer. At some point, somebody should catch it, you know, and say, hey, like even, you know, Young Turks I watch all the time. They came out after Bic because Bic refused to print their Trump propaganda. And they say, well, it's like, look, I'm paying you to do this. And Bic is like, look, we don't, you're making fun of the president, we don't want to print this. Now, clearly, a company like Bic, if it came out that Bic was printing Trump propaganda, it could affect their bottom line. So they're just like, I don't want to do this. And that's their right to turn their business down. So, you know, but I just think it comes down to gatekeepers and who's in the room. And clearly, you know, the demise of the black-owned advertising agency has a lot to do with it. I mean, there's at a certain point in time, you know, there was a lot of power with Johnson Publications. It also brought along and soul-trained black-owned advertising agencies that basically specialize, you know, we talk about brainwash, those guys specialize in creating marketing specifically geared to black audiences. And as we became more diversified, there was less of a need for that. And so now you have a lot of white folks determining marketing for everybody. So I just don't see how you greenlight that image and think it's a good idea.
I just want you to remember this conversation because all I'm saying is not to excuse it, not to defend it.
Okay.
But I just feel
it's getting out of hand.
If we're going to scrutinize this and blame it on some insensitive white folk, let's not give our people a pass when there's a lot of crap in the movies that they're in charge of that I get upset with.
So Dove soap.
Dove soap, I didn't like that.
So it was a gift. Like originally
the symbolism.
The morning the picture came out, but then they showed the animation. It was sort of like one of them Michael Jackson things where they morph the black woman puts a shirt on and morphs into a white woman, and that's Dove soap.
It was reminiscent of the old ads they used to have when they were promoting the power of using a certain type of soap and how it would get you so clean.
Like, what is it, Gold Dust Twins?
Gold Dust Twins, you know, but like the little white kid is saying, well, it worked for me. You know?
Racist. So yeah, I mean they should. Yeah, that hurt. Dove soap. Because but I use the product. It's...
And the black model, a couple of days after she came in, kind of defended it. She didn't feel exploited or anything like that.
Oh, they need to pay her double then. But did she get paid the same as the white actress? That'd be my question. Okay, so you didn't feel exploited. How much did you get paid? Did you get paid the same as the white girl? That'd be the first question I would ask her. Were you happy to get the job? Was this a value for you? But I mean, clearly she didn't know what she was doing, and then also, what market is it for? Like a lot of times when these things come out, we're seeing ads like those Japanese toothpaste and things like that, where they're not as sensitive to certain things within the culture. But my understanding is this was a global or an ad targeted for American audience. It's just wrong, and I think
I wanted to go see if I can catch some of the local stores. They may still have one of those boxes on the counter.
Oh, the corn pops?
Yeah.
I think they poured all that crap. Maybe
think so?
maybe Dollar Tree.
Wow, I wonder if they. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. Look, they sell Kellogg's. I'd like to get the box.
Well, all right. Well, we'll see if we can find one. But so
What
in
was
closing,
it? Corn Pops? Kellogg's Corn Pop?
you know, somebody.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give you a pop test.
Okay. Okay. All right. We're wrapping it up here.
Who's your dad?
Pop. Well, actually, my dad, my grandfather, we called him Pop Pop. So that was my Pop Pop. But shout out to James A. Dennis.
Who? To who?
James A. Dennis, my grandfather. Pop Pop.
Okay. What's his last name?
Dennis.
Dennis. Okay.
Well,
You're you're a wise man.
But I think it needs to be. He's running out of steam. I can tell. I think we have to be hyper vigilant until we have control over these things. You know, a core problem why these things perpetuate is lack of not empathy. I don't necessarily care how people feel, but we're expected to feel all their pain, and then if we say this bothers us, we're ignored. And I think people need to speak up and say, hey, that's not right. That's not right. You know, Dove, look, you're going to be out of business if you keep this up. And that's not the first time that Dove soap has done that, you know. So, you know, I give no quarter to a lot of it, but at the same time, every morning when you get on Twitter, you wake up and there's a new thing to be outraged against. And I think sometimes we lose focus of what the real fight, what the real things are, you know, and a lot of it serves as distraction.
Right quick, Mike. I told you I was damn near tears. Doing a lot of research. I watched Tyra Banks, some of her shows on bleaching, and one of the girls said, you know, you don't know what I had to go through as a kid, how I was teased because of my dark skin. And when she literally put bleach on her face, and her face was peeling, but she was so embarrassed by her skin color that she felt she had to do something to change it. To live like that, unless you walk in someone's shoes, unless you experience that,
Right.
that gets to what we first opened with, where the women are coming out against Harvey Weinstein, and people are sympathetic to these women.
Yeah.
Well, when are you going to be sympathetic to blacks saying Black Lives Matter? If you want to say Black Lives Matter too, to make it real, that they're not just talking about Black Lives Matter, no other lives matter. When you know what blacks have to face, the conditions they have to face in this country, and you, in Tim Wise, what they talk about, was it Tim Wise, where the guy had to become black like me, Griffith, so that he could really experience what it was like to be black.
Yeah.
If you don't know what it's like to be black, you can appropriate blackness and talk cool and whatnot, but when you can go through life, and see, me, it's been a little easier, but the darker you are, the tougher it is in this damn country to be treated and feel like a human.
Yeah. Well, amen to that. Yeah. So the correct answer, if I say my foot hurts, the correct answer is not my foot hurts too. It's like, what can I do to ease your pain? I understand. I might not feel your pain, but what can I do to make it better? You know. So extending that, it's not. And so many people want to commiserate, and we're all guilty of it. It's a reaction. Sometimes people just want understanding. They don't want it. And that leads us to the solution, you know. Yeah. But the correct answer to, oh, I'm in pain is, you know, oh, I'm in pain too.
Yeah, I feel for every woman that had to be subjected to that nasty son of a gun jumping on them.
Yeah.
You know, why didn't one of their boyfriends come and beat the shit out of that son of a gun?